Drones are becoming more a part of everyday life. We used ours here at Channel 2 to get you these amazing shots during the snowstorm earlier this month. And we've talked here on the town hall with attorneys about legal issues surrounding drones. But there are also concerns with how police and other government agencies are using the devices. The New York Civil Liberties Union recently published a report that found 530 drones being used by those agencies statewide, including nearly 80 registered just this year. And the group is worried that our privacy maybe isn't being properly protected. Joining us live now is Daniel Schwarz, the New York Civil Liberties Union's senior tech and privacy strategist. We appreciate you taking some time for us here. First off, just kind of give us a sense of what you found in terms of the growing use of these drones really across the state and here in our region as well.
Thank you. Yeah, as you mentioned, our report found that 530 drones are deployed by 85 different government agencies. We filed that request because of the scarcity of information around government drones. We only were aware of 49 government drones in 2020, and the FAA showed us their registrations, which listed those 530 and the rapid increase over the last few years. We've seen government drones being used at protests all over the country, especially in 2020, and we're seeing government or law enforcement drones increasingly being used with biometric surveillance technologies and even weapons. I'm
sorry. I was just going to ask, drones are becoming ubiquitous, right? A lot of people are probably out shopping for them right now to buy their kids for Christmas. What specifically is the concern with how law enforcement, how police might be using them versus, anybody else who can go out and fly one?
The surveillance and privacy impact of those. We've seen their discriminatory usage with those technologies like facial recognition, which is particularly inaccurate on Black and brown people, on women and on young people. We've seen them conducting unconstitutional surveillance in Baltimore for 12 hours at a time, surveilling the city. And we're strongly supporting legislation in Albany that will put guardrails on the use of police drones. And for the reasons that they're becoming more and more widespread, as you have mentioned, we need to protect protesters, we need to protect First Amendment rights, and we need to make sure that no discriminatory technology is being used with drones.
Specifically here, your report found that there are 10 police agency drones in the Western New York region. So there are 3 each for the Niagara and Erie County Sheriff's offices, and then 1 each for the police departments in the towns of Tonawanda, West Seneca, and Niagara. So we reached out to all of those agencies to ask about their drone use. The Niagara County Sheriff's Office gave us this kind of lengthy statement here, saying in part that they're, quote, for the sole purpose of providing better public safety to our residents. The statement went on to say that they're used in missing persons situations, large fires, crime scene documentation, and to quote, provide oversight during incidents that can cause harm to the public or our law enforcement. Erie County kind of had a similar statement. West Seneca had no response. The others didn't get back to us, but important to share that. What would you say to the police agencies here who are like, look, especially in cases of a missing person or something like that, where drones can kind of be your eyes in the skies? What is the balance here in terms of making sure they're not being used inappropriately, but also that drones are available to potentially save a life?
Absolutely, and we don't want to outlaw them. Under the legislation that is sponsored by Senator Ramos and Assemblymember Kim, those instances would all still be permissible. Really, it is about transparency and about setting the guardrails and making sure that there's no discriminatory use and no harmful use that violates people's civil rights and civil liberties.
I've only got about 20 seconds left, Daniel, but are you confident that something can get done? I mean, the legislature goes back into session in January. Is this something that you think rises to the level of where we might see some action?
Absolutely, and I would also hope that now that we identified which law enforcement agencies and government agencies own drones, that these departments come forth and post their policies publicly, and that people in the communities can review under what policies they're using these.
Yeah, definitely good to know how they're being used and under what circumstances. Daniel Schwarz is the NYCLU's senior tech and privacy strategist. Thanks for coming on tonight. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.